Tuesday, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jen Carfagno.
And I'm Kate Parker. The last day of March and the season confusion still going on really strong.
We still have snow. Yep, it is wise what's happening as we look at the radar right now in Scott. So you do have a little bit of a mix about to come on in. And he talked about it sort of being pelletish, maybe like snow pellets in Erie, Pennsylvania. We do have rain, though, over in Cleveland. Temperatures just a degree or two warmer. And that's enough to get us a chilly rain out there as opposed to the snow. So we're tracking that for you this morning. We're going to keep on watching what's going on with this clipper. It's moving through. It is bringing a decent snow that parts of northern Pennsylvania, including right along Interstate 80. Heads up for travelers there. And places like Erie and State College, we're going to be in it as we get into the afternoon, then a return to a couple snow showers before we wrap things up. All right, so Scott, what are people saying about this winter blast, another one? For sure, Scott, thank you. It's kind of a mental thing, right? I mean, you look at the forecast we've got across the area today. State College and, Cleveland and Erie, you're all kind of in the same boat with this, is that it's either rain or a wet snow, maybe ending in some snow before the clipper moves completely out through today. But temperatures are very chilly, only in the 30s, and it's going to be breezy with the clipper. So this thing moves along, and we time it for you heading east today. New York City, by later on, it is rain for you. There will be snow, of course, at Interstate 80, and although it's a wet snow, that can still make for slush and still make for some slick spots, especially leading to the interstate is where you really need to be concerned. And don't be surprised all the way down in some of the northern burbs of Philly. If you see a couple of flakes out there today, I don't want you to be surprised about it. It's not going to stick. Where it will stick is right here across northern Pennsylvania, just north of 80 is the main spot to watch. Maybe parts of southern western New York. It's a 1 to 3 inch kind of thing. There'll be some spots, I think, in Pennsylvania that do pick up about 4 or maybe even 5 inches of snow, especially up at elevation. Let's look at New York City. For us, it is all rain. It's a chilly rain. Temperatures are only going to be in the low 40s today, but as the clipper moves in later this afternoon and continues into the evening, it is rain coming our way. Now, as we look ahead to the weekend, Kate, we've got another system to track into the north from Savannah, also from Columbia, South Carolina. So pretty cool looking sky yesterday, and that was all out ahead of a front that is actually going to be one of the focus that we watch for severe weather today. That front itself is lifting back north, and we're going to watch it in the southeast to help be one of the triggers for possible severe weather. Another area is here across portions of Oklahoma and Texas. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's look at the southeast. Already you can see the moisture returning. Look at these dew points back up into the 60s in Montgomery. That's step number one, right? Get the moisture back in play. Where we have the front or where we have the convergence or the winds at the surface coming together, you're going to be looking for some rising air, and we will be looking for the chance for storms and possible severe weather across this area. We put things into motion in one of our models and show you how things could play out today. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where a thunderstorm is going to fire, but as we get into the afternoon, Birmingham, one of the spots we're going to be watching, especially as we get into the later afternoon, and by this evening, we'll watch for some storms to pop throughout the area here today in the southeast. So Birmingham, one spot, afternoon, early evening, but then we also got to watch over here, Kate.
Yeah, we've got this issue here right along the Red River, and then we've got this stretch across the southeast that we're watching as well, where we could see some of those thunderstorms, like you said, become a little stronger. The spotty hail going to be an issue. Your favorites, dew points, right?
Well, this really makes a difference here across Oklahoma and Texas because of that dry line.
Right, and once we see that develop, that's going to be one of our triggers that we're going to be watching along. But you can see a lot of moisture all the way through the day today and going through the evening across most of East Texas. Now, West Texas, you can see how dry that is. And what we're going to watch is you can see this just flow right out of the south, amping up that moisture. And then look at this. See how the winds start going a little wacky here? That's where we're going to see things really start to spur up a bit.
So we think there'll be some thunderstorms up fire into the evening, early evening time frame. Once the sun sets, probably the instability will come down and we'll see things die down. We put a model into motion, and again, tough to pinpoint exactly where, but this gives you the idea that we will see thunderstorm activity later on into the late afternoon, early evening.
And even going through the overnight into Wednesday morning, we could see some of these develop, and straight line winds could be a concern. See how these kind of develop, and we get these lines with a little bit of a bowing out even with them, and those wind gusts could be damaging. We could see some hail along with that, so that's what we're watching.
So yeah, those are the two main concerns today with storms: wind, strong damaging winds, and hail. So to explain what this Torcon means and what you need to do and how you need to use it, we've got to look at the Torcon, and it's a number. It's a number from 0 to 10, and if you have a 3, for example, you basically are going to multiply that by 10 to get your percent risk of a tornado within a 50-mile radius. So if it's a 3, that means there's a 30% chance that tornadoes will fire within a 50-mile radius from your point. And we've got it city specific. You can always get your forecast on weather.com. And of course, we've got it covered right here as well on Weather Center Live. Kate?
Yeah, Minneapolis, this is where you're going to look at timing-wise for you tomorrow. The winds going to pick up in the morning hours and continue into the early afternoon, but it's once we get after the afternoon hours and into the evening hours that we start to see these hit-or-miss thunderstorms, and they could become strong or even severe in some cases. So keep that in mind. It turns over to rain before you go to bed tomorrow night. So here's what the ingredients are in place. We've got a really strong jet, and what happens is we get all this moisture flowing north right out of the Gulf of Mexico. You've got that heat. You've got that nice moist air. You also have the low-level jet coming into play here. So what happens is we get a little bit of turn in the atmosphere. We've got the winds in place as well. And what happens is that we get a few of these thunderstorms firing up right along this cold front and out ahead of it. So the jet stream is going to be where we see some of those strongest winds aloft. That would help and aid in some of that development of those thunderstorms. But this is the area we're looking at starting on Wednesday, starting tomorrow, stretching from Minneapolis down south across Oklahoma to the Red River. Then that's going to stretch on Wednesday night a little bit farther off to the east. Some overnight severe threat, but it ramps back up on Thursday afternoon. You have that risk during the afternoon hours as well. So Omaha, Nebraska, a spot that we're going to be watching for tomorrow as well. Now, it's not until you get much later into the afternoon and evening that your risk comes in. It's going to take some time for that moisture to get your direction. So the first part of the day, it's looking actually pretty nice, but don't be fooled because by dinner time, you could see some pretty strong thunderstorms. Hi, I'm Kate Parker.
And I'm Jen Carfagno. You saw that snow going away so quickly there. Of course, it was a time lapse, but snow going away in the Sierra Nevada, that's a big story that we'll follow for you here in this next half hour. Plus, it's the time of the year where we see literally everything.
Yeah, Scott, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on as far as the timing goes where you're located, because we can see that you're starting to wind down a little bit. Portions of Pennsylvania, you've already transitioned into rain. We're going to continue to watch that through the day happen, but it's going to be slow but sure. Here's where I would be concerned is we've got some of this heavy snow going on here, and then once you get some of these purples in here, a little bit of freezing rain as you make that transition over into rain, it could become a little slick in some spots. So obviously, it's still snowing in Erie. Let's go ahead and check back in with Scott. Now, the docks there are pretty icy. And Scott, it looks like with that snowball that you threw in, it looked like it froze almost right on the top of that water.
Sierra snowpack in California. And state water forecasters will begin predicting the summer runoff for water reservoirs starting tomorrow, and it is not looking good. The snow water content measured a record low 9% of normal last week. Surveys are routinely done each winter to help water planning, but this year's snowfall barely has put a dent in the 4-year drought in California. And you know, about 30% of California's water does come from Sierra's snowmelt, replenishing reservoirs in the spring and early summer. That's why we're real concerned about the snowpack. And I'll tell you what we have right now when it comes to the Sierra snowpack is it was at 9% last week, and it actually has gotten even lower. Some of the newer numbers coming in at 5 and 6%. So take a look at where we are. Again, 5% is the latest of what we have with the Sierra snowpack, 5% of average. You go down through like Tahoe and the Sierra Nevada, 6% in the central Sierra region to date. These are unbelievable numbers, and even down in the southern end as well, which actually it's been even worse. We're about 6% when it comes to the amount of snowpack compared to average. Kate, you can really see it when you look at it comparatively for the past 3 years, because we were in a drought in 2013 and we thought it was bad.
Yeah, but compared to this year, we would gladly take 2013.
We thought 2014 was bad.
Right. And now 2015, there's hardly any, the blues indicating, the purples indicating here, of course, where we have that snowpack, and there's hardly anything out there.
I mean, you look at the rainfall totals. We've done all right in the Northwest, but certainly in California, it has been piddly. In San Francisco, now coming in with some new numbers. You know, the January to March period, driest on record for a number of spots. And it's really quite concerning, especially when you look at a map like this.
And you look at the fact that we don't have a lot of improvement in the forecast either. So this is what it looks like in California. Extreme drought, 67% of the state. Now, just 3 months ago, it was at 78%. So that's a little bit of an improvement there.
We've heard some quotes from water managers that say, you know, it would take a good season. Well, we're running out of season because the rainy season is about to be over in the west. San Francisco's forecast is a dry one. It's going to be quite windy today. In fact, it's already been very windy with winds over 30 or 40 miles per hour. And dry and windy is not good either, because wind helps that evaporation process of any moisture that we have. And that remains a forecast right through the weekend.
Right. So in warning in place, you can see that across Montana and then stretching all the way down into into Nebraska. Portions of Wyoming also going to be under that. We've also got a fire weather watch here in the orange, so dry air, those winds, and when our soil's dry and our grass is dry.
Yeah, I mean,
so
especially in the northern plains, we didn't have a ton of snow there really over the winter either. So
this jet not helping out those winds, so that's where we're going to see some of those strongest ones. And the warmer air isn't going to be going anywhere either. We get a little bit of a cool down, but it's actually going to spread that warmth a little farther to the east.
Right. In general, as we get through the spring months, that jet stream will be traveling north. That's what it does.
Yeah.
So we are going to be looking for the warm conditions. You look at the warm air on the move, and so Chicago, just this morning, we really warmed up tremendously. But Cleveland, by late week, we do actually get to warm up, but a lot here across the Southwest as well.
Yeah, West Texas, you're going to be 15, even 30 degrees above average. I mean, look at this. Today in Dallas, 83 degrees for your high there. Tomorrow, look at this, though. You're down to 79. St. Louis, 76. That's not bad. But Atlanta, 79 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah, and even into D.C., we're going to be warming up. Boston, we're above average as well. It is a bit of a pattern shift as we get into the last 2 days of the week, although it's not going to last for everyone through the entire weekend.
All right, well, we have a lot of that snow to still talk about.
That's right, from record highs to